Donald Trump knows that his Iran war is failing. He knows he's losing. He is straight up losing the war. And so he's now threatening to wage economic war just against random countries all over the world. It's not only Iran. Any country, any business, any bank, any airport that does something Trump decides constitutes a lifeline to Iran, and he will go after you. Here is what Donald Trump posted to Truth Social.
Truth Social.
Quote, "No one has given the Islamic Republic of Iran a greater opportunity to make a deal than me. Tragically, for them, they have failed to take it. Therefore, today I am announcing the most crushing economic operation ever taken against any country. This will be economic warfare and isolation on an unprecedented scale. Their navy is gone. Their air force is destroyed. Their military factories are now rubble. Their currency is worthless, and their country is hanging by a thread." Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Today, I'm also announcing that any country that allows its financial institutions, businesses, airports, or government entities to provide any type of lifeline to Iran will itself face tremendous economic consequences. Oil smuggling, swap lines, cash transfers, exchange houses, ship registries, front companies. It all needs to stop now, says Trump. You know who you are. This will be an economic D-Day, and we need all of our allies to stand with the United States of America to isolate and defeat the Iran threat. These maniacs are on the ropes, and these historic measures will cripple them and their ability to project terror worldwide. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. He calls it Economic D-Day because every Trump announcement now has to be the trailer for a very stupid action movie. Like never seen before, an Economic D-Day. Now, when Trump says Iran's navy is gone and the air force is gone and its military factories are rubble and the country is hanging by a thread, we've been hearing variations of that for 6 months. Iran is finished. The war is over. It's going to be 2 more weeks. The Strait of Hormuz is under our control. There's a deal here. It's imminent. And if any of that crap were true, Trump would not be announcing an unprecedented new phase of economic warfare. If you've defeated Iran completely, you wouldn't need to be escalating and threatening just about every other country in the world. You're only doing that because your strategy hasn't worked. And the extent of the threat going beyond Iran is remarkable. Which countries is he thinking of? What consequences is he thinking of? What qualifies as a lifeline? And by the way, notice that Russia has been helping Iran this entire time. Trump is silent on that, but he's being very friendly with North Korea, who is aligned with Russia. Now, Trump lists some of these ideas as to what it might count to help Iran: oil smuggling or exchange houses, cash transfers, all of this stuff. Some of those are legitimate targets. Like they're certainly more legitimate than some of the civilian infrastructure that Trump has been targeting in Iran. Iran uses these opaque financial networks to get around sanctions, and disrupting that is not inherently deranged. The derangement is threatening entire countries with unspecified punishment. You're not really defining the rules. You're not really explaining the retaliation. Now, Iran's largest trading partner is China. India has a pretty significant interest in the region. The United Arab Emirates has been sort of a commercial and financial conduit for Iran. And what Trump is demanding is that sovereign governments completely reorganize their trade and their financial systems around this war, or prepare to be punished by the United States. Now, what happens if China refuses? Does Trump put in place more tariffs? Does he sanction Chinese banks or try to put restrictions on Chinese companies? What happens when China retaliates against American businesses and American farmers, or access to materials that American companies need? This becomes a mess very quickly. Or imagine that it's oil related. Imagine that as punishment to companies, Trump reduces the oil supply from the market and prices go up again, and Americans pay even more for gasoline and electricity and everything. What happens to Trump and his political alliance when allies decide, hey, the U.S. is kind of abusing its control over the financial system? Let's start trading in a different reserve currency, not the dollar. And so the point is that, as always, Donald Trump is either unwilling or unable or indifferent to considering that something like what he's proposing has these second order effects, third order effects, fourth order effects. His framework is threaten everybody with capital letters and assume that they're going to surrender, but that's not likely the way that it's going to go. Let's reset one other aspect of this. The Trump administration chose this war, said it would last 2 to 3 weeks, and we are in week 26. Iran has not surrendered. The nuclear issue is unresolved. The Strait of Hormuz is disrupted. American consumers are paying more for a whole bunch of stuff. We've gotten beyond that 60-day negotiation window, and we're about to start seeing mail-in ballots go out to people for the midterms that are now just a couple of months away. Trump, desperate for something that will help him politically, is expanding military warfare against Iran into economic warfare against much of the world and bragging about it by saying it's economic D-Day. This is a desperate individual. This is a guy who knows he's losing, who knows that when his party loses control of at least the House, he's going to be mired in horrible investigations for him. They're going to be great investigations for those of us who care about accountability, but investigations that will be terrible for Trump and the people around him. And he is trying to figure out, what can I do to change the direction of this? It's Natalie Harp who's there sort of pushing the gas pedal on any of these ideas, and it ends up with Trump putting out a Truth Social post threatening the vast majority of the developed and the developing world. Is this going to keep Republicans in power in November? Quite frankly, I think the answer is obviously not. Thanks for watching. Check out this other video, and if you like our content, make sure to subscribe so YouTube puts our videos in your feed, and subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and Apple.